Hi guys, it's Sarah from Book Nerds and Fangirls, and today I'll be doing part 2 of my Crazy Ex-Girlfriend review. If you haven't watched part 1, or just wanna, discuss episode 6, stay on this video if it's just about episode 6 that you want to discuss, but if you wanted to hear my thoughts on episodes 4 and 5, I do have a review for them that I'm posting today as well. Because the video was going to be over my time limit that I have on my movie maker video maker. I decided to cut it short and to split it in two halves, which I do think is appropriate considering the very heavy subject matter that's discussed in episode 6 and briefly in episode 5 as well. I figured that this one deserves at least its own separate review. I can't tell you guys how much I wanted to get on my computer and post a review every single episode that I could, because I knew there was a lot to discuss about this, but oh my god, how good this season is getting, and it's not even mid-season finale yet. That's next week, and I'll be posting that as its own individual episode because I don't want to wait 2 months to post a video about the very last episode of the season. So let's go ahead and discuss this one. So, oh my god, episode 6 was very emotionally heavy, but it gave me hope for Rebecca, and it gave me hope for where her crazy ex-girlfriend is gonna go from here. Cause yeah, they were down at the bottom of the rankings. They were crashing out. They were burning. They were about to be canceled. But the director of this and the writer and Rachel Bloom are proving to everyone just because we were gonna get canceled doesn't mean we still can bring it and be a very important show. If you guys don't remember Glee, the show Glee was supposed to get canceled after the first half of the season, and then Ryan Murphy said, just give me another chance to make it right, and then Glee was on for 6 seasons after it was supposed to be canceled. So I hope this is the case of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, because if the show gets canceled after the hell of a good season that they're having this season, I'm gonna be disappointed. I'm gonna be angry. What? I mean, I guess, you could. If Rachel Bloom does have a lot of influence, she could also possibly make it a YouTube exclusive, maybe a Netflix thing. Even if CW decides, hey, we don't want this anymore, doesn't mean that another network won't want this show. I mean, look at Netflix. Netflix is doing good for an online subscription service. They're killing it with their shows lately. But let's not talk about that. Let's talk about this episode. So, guys, this episode was everything to me. I just loved it so much. I love that we finally got to address a few things. We finally got to learn about what Rebecca is actually going through, and I loved the living shit out of this episode. It's probably one of my favorites of the season, besides, episode 2. Episode 2 is still my favorite, because it's funny, and it's sexy, and it's edgy, and I don't know how they did all the smut on that about getting no from the cable networks, but we'll see. We'll see about that. Vampire Diaries also got doing a lot of sexy things on the CW, so we'll see. Let's see. See, where to start with this episode? So the beginning of the episode, from the last episode where Rebecca tries to commit suicide, which is a very emotionally heavy topic that I did discuss in my last video, so I'm not gonna be discussing it so much in this video. So we see Rebecca, Paula in the hospital, and they're waiting on news about Rebecca. So Paula is giving them details about what happened, saying that the doctors say that she's gonna pull through. It was touch and go there for a while, but she's gonna be fine. And we get Dr. Akopian back in this episode, which I'm glad that Rebecca's therapist is in on this episode, or else her diagnosis wouldn't have made a lot of sense. If they didn't have her actual therapist there, because why wouldn't her actual therapist know if she's having this or not? So Dr. Akopian's there, and Paula's there, and Heather and Valencia say, hey, you don't have to be in there all by yourself, we could take turns visiting her, and you could go back to your family. I'm sure they would like to see you. And Paula's like, I'm pretty sure they would understand that my friend needs me right now. Because that's what friends do. Friends are there for each other no matter the difficult times, and I do understand that her husband would, in that situation, if my husband had a friend, and his friend tried to commit suicide, I would understand that my husband needed to be with his friend at that moment. So that's something I really hope her husband does understand. We don't know until next week. Maybe. I really hope her husband's not pissed at the fact that she went to go help her friend. We'll see about that next week. But, let's see. So, the thing that irritated me the most, and I'm surprised I didn't wake my husband up when I was watching this episode, is because, I realized that not all of what Rebecca was feeling was Josh's fault. But the way he acted in this episode totally justified my behavior at the beginning of this episode. I was so pissed off at Josh. Rebecca was with her therapist, and she was probably in there making progress, and guess who decides to swoop in and decides he has to talk to Rebecca? That's right, Josh. So, as soon as Josh was just I came as soon as I heard, I was just literally, looking at my screen going, no, you need to fuck off. Fuck off. Rebecca does not need you here. She has a mental health issue, and she's not gonna get better with you just putting on rose-colored glasses in front of her. I understand where Josh is coming from. He feels guilty. He didn't want her to try and kill herself. He just wanted her to go away. I get that. I get where he's coming from. But at this very moment in time, Rebecca does not need him to interfere with her getting better. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult. But this is not about him. And that's not something he gets. Yes, you feel guilty. Yes, you said horrible things to this person, but they're not gonna get better if you're trying to make yourself feel better, and make yourself feel justified. And I like how Paula, Valencia, and Heather were all fuck no, you're not talking to her. That's not what she needs right now. We don't care what you need. Not even Nathaniel made that decision to come up and see her, because I don't think she wanted to be around them. She didn't want visitors. She didn't want that whole thing. And it was because she didn't want people to look at her that way. She didn't want them to see her vulnerable. vulnerable, and I get that Rebecca does need people at a time like this, but she needs people that are emotionally supportive of her, which obviously Josh is not. So, yeah, I basically told him to fuck off through my screen. Not my proudest moment. So, taking their advice, Josh leaves. Thank God. And then Paula goes to see Rebecca, and Rebecca is so embarrassed, and she feels so ashamed about what she did. She said she didn't even want to die. All she wanted was the pain to stop. Which is what a lot of suicidal people feel like. Like, a lot of them want to live. They just don't want to go through the pain of living, which, I can't say I understand because I really don't understand that soul-crushing feeling, but there is always help, and there is always hope. And just remember, if you're going through a bad situation right now, doesn't mean that it's going to be a bad situation forever. Bad situations make us stronger in the long haul, and make us appreciate life for what it is. It's like, I think one of my favorite quotes, like this is a If I Stay movie quote, is life is this huge, gigantic, enormous mess, but that's the beauty of it too. And I'm just over here like, yeah, that quote, really is an inspirational quote. And I think my cat wants to join the video. Say hi, Shay. Say hi. So we get that, and Paula says she shouldn't have anything to feel ashamed about, and then the doctor comes in, and he says that he believes that she's been misdiagnosed for years, and he has a new diagnosis that she fits all the checklist for, and she's like, oh, okay, I finally got a diagnosis. So Rebecca goes home. She's excited to find out what this new diagnosis is, and for the first time in, days, she's feeling uplifted. She's feeling like there is hope for her. And then she goes to the doctor's office, and they diagnose her with not bipolar. Sorry. They diagnose her with borderline personality disorder. Borderline personality disorder, BPD, which, from what my understanding of it, is a very common disorder. And of course, Rebecca has never heard of this disorder. I have personally never really heard of this disorder until maybe like a year or so ago. So she's asking what that is. She's asking all the questions about it because she doesn't know anything about this new disorder. And basically this disorder, from what the doctor explains it, was that people can't process emotions the right way, so their emotions overwhelm them. And I believe there was more information about it too, and how he says that every case of this is different, so you can't fit it all into one little box. What's most important is that you don't look up this online. You give yourself time to think about it and stuff like that. So I'm just like, oh yeah, I won't look it up. And then of course, before he goes to try to take her to group therapy, she looks up all the symptoms. She looks up this WebMD thing, which I've actually read this WebMD thing about it too, because I wanted to know what it is. And of course, it makes her panicked and afraid, and she is in the stage of denial, which a lot of people after they get a diagnosis have a stage of denial where, no, this can't possibly be right. This is not what it is. What it is. And she's like, so basically I'm certifiably crazy. And she's getting sad about it. Like, you're not understanding me. It's not something wrong about me. It's something wrong with me, I think is what she sees. She says, and that's what a lot of people with mental disorders feel. Like it's like having an actual, like having a, I don't know how to explain a mental disorder. Like, it's not, a mental disorder is not something you could easily fix with medication and therapy. Mental disorder is a lifelong thing. It's very hard to cope with when you do have one. Like me, I have anxiety disorder. I know a lot of people say they have an anxiety disorder, but I've been medically diagnosed with anxiety myself. So I do get the fact, I do get that feeling that Rebecca has of, oh, I'm not normal. Why can't I just be normal? I'm not normal. I'm broken. And that's a lot of what a lot of people feel of mental disorder, that they're not normal human beings, that they're broken. And I do like the other quote, broken crowns still color, is another good one, but I do appreciate Paula saying, no, you're not broken. And just because you have the diagnosis doesn't mean it's the right one. We could get a second opinion. This doctor doesn't know you like everyone else knows you. And stuff like that. So they go to Dr. Akopian. And before we do this scene, we have a scene with Valencia and Heather. I forgot to break down the song A Diagnosis. I like that Rebecca is finally peppy and have a beat in that one. But at the same time, the soul crushingness that goes after we learn Rebecca's diagnosis and her hopelessness in that moment. It was just like emotionally heavy, like I said. These episodes are really emotionally heavy. So what happens is, during this episode, Valencia has been making this vlog dedicated to Rebecca and her recovery. And Heather saying how it's not really a great idea to put Rebecca's personal life out there or get merch because you're using your friend's crisis to get free merch and other stuff. That's wrong. And then we have the song My Movement, which is a funny song because it's like, it feels very uplifting, but the Valencians are doing poop faces when she's doing it because this sounds like a song about poop. About poop and other stuff. But that's a funny moment in an episode that's so emotionally heavy. And oh, I almost forgot the other part of this episode, which is something like, so we got the boys in this episode, and before we go to Rebecca and her checklist, we'll go discuss the boys, because the boys I totally forgot about until this part that I was about to mention. So we have Josh, and Josh being Josh. Oh my god. How much I want to hit Josh in the head, slap Josh in the face to get his brain working again. Makes me mad. So Josh is talking with Hector, and of course he has to make Rebecca's suicide attempt about him, which I hated. I had, like, you don't try to make someone else's suicide attempt about you. About you. So he's talking to Hector, and he's all telling Hector, oh, so tell me what Rebecca's been saying about me. About me. Did you do this because of me? Because, she did this because of me, right? Because of what I said to her? And Hector's all like, honestly, she hasn't mentioned you ever since this thing has happened. It's all like, no, she can't. She can't. Like, Rebecca's obsessed with me. There's no way she isn't talking about me. And it's like, dude, trust me, she's not talking about you. And the panic face he has whenever he realizes that Rebecca is not talking about him, it infuriates me, because not everything in this world revolves around Josh Chan like he thinks it does. It does. I'm really excited for the storyline that might occur with Josh in the next season. Like, Josh not having that stable relationship that he craves with a person. Like, Josh doesn't have his job. He doesn't feel like he has a purpose in life. He doesn't have the emotional stability that Rebecca used to give him about himself. He doesn't have that person that goes, oh my god, you're such a great person anymore, because he screwed it up. So it's gonna be interesting next season trying to, it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's gonna be interesting next season trying to get Josh's new storyline together. What is Josh about Rebecca? Because Rebecca has a lot of things about Josh, but I feel like Josh has had Rebecca as a safety net to go to for the past several years, and now that he doesn't have that safety net, where is he gonna go? What is he gonna do? Who's gonna be his emotional supporter? Because he doesn't have that anymore. So it should be interesting to see how Josh copes with these things. I think it'll be an interesting storyline, seeing what these individuals are, who these individuals are, without another person supporting them like that. Like, there's a lot of things I want to see in this new season. We'll discuss that in the end of the video. So, there's also another thing about Nathaniel in this, which I love Nathaniel. Nathaniel is easily becoming one of my favorite love interests for Rebecca, because, yeah, they've had sex by now. Yeah, they've kissed. But this relationship is kind of like a slow burn, like Greg and Rebecca were. For me, because at first we think it's all about sex with him, but in this episode, we see that he really does care about Rebecca. Like, he tries sending her flowers, but every time he tries to, he remembers something about his mother. And we get more on Nathaniel's background story, which I'm excited about exploring. So we find out that Nathaniel's mother took one too many sleeping pills when he was a child, and she ended up trying to commit suicide when he was younger, which his family has never talked about, because it's more of a sweep the emotions under the rug thing with his family. And I'm glad that we got to see more of Nathaniel's family dynamic and what he did have to deal with when he was growing up, because it makes Nathaniel feel more realistic as a character to me. Like, why is Nathaniel the way he is? Why can't he feel these emotions? And I'm happy that Nathaniel is feeling emotions. It was even brought up by Nathaniel's dad in this episode that ever since he started working in this office, he's been more in touch with his emotional side, which his family frowns upon, but I'm loving, because I love that we're getting Nathaniel's emotional side out, that we're getting Nathaniel as an actual person, like he's not his father-son anymore. He's himself now. And I'm so happy with this dynamic. I'm glad that Nathaniel and Rebecca are changing each other for the better, even though I just want them to stay friends for right now, because I feel like it's important for Rebecca's mental health that she stays single for a while and tries to work on herself. But we'll also get to that in the discussion for storylines that I want to happen. This season. So we get that, and we get Nathaniel and his mother have a very touching moment where Nathaniel's mother comes out and says, yes, I did take one too many sleeping pills when you were younger. I was rushed to the hospital. I was sent to rehabilitation to deal with my problems, but I'm better now. And they have the sweet, touching moment where instead of Nathaniel getting roses from a website of a card, his mother gives him roses and says, I think your friend would appreciate these a little bit more. And I'm just over here like, it's just like such a great moment. And we'll get to the flower scene with Rebecca and Nathaniel in a minute, because I feel like I need to discuss the other aspects. That's what's gonna happen. So they bust into Dr. Akopian's office. Paula and Rebecca, they go through the checklist of what Rebecca has and discusses Rebecca to the T. And Paula says, no, you're wrong. She doesn't have this. You're crazy. It doesn't sound like her at all. And Rebecca's all like, Paula, I don't have only 3 or 4 symptoms. I fit all 9 to 10 of these symptoms. This is me. This is my diagnosis. So Rebecca is having a very hard time processing the diagnosis. She goes home feeling not hopeless per se, but hey, I don't want to be this way. I don't want to be this person. Something's wrong with me, and I don't like what I'm hearing about it. So, Rebecca goes in her room, says, I would rather be alone, locks the door, in a very touching moment, like when she unlocks the door to go to the bathroom the next morning, all 3 of her friends are on the floor sleeping, even though Heather could go just as easily gone to her own room. They're there for Rebecca. And then Rebecca decides to go to the bathroom, which there's a nod to the opening credit scene in there, like when Rebecca's listening to the theme song of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend Season 3. And she's going, what? That is on there. But outside, her friends are freaking out because she locked the door. She wanted to be left alone. They think she's feeling hopeless and is about to attempt suicide again because Valencia left toenail clippers with a little sharp thing in there. So what happens was actually one of the funnier yet emotional scenes in this. Like, they're trying to get Rebecca to answer the door. Of course, she can't hear him because she has headphones in. And in listening to this music, because music helps her deal with her thoughts in whatever situation she's in, to help understand why she's in this situation, which is a lot. Like, music goes, and mental health, I believe, go hand in hand with helping the mental health aspect, because God knows that mental health, music has helped with my anxiety for the longest time now. I feel so much better when I listen to music to where I have an emotional connection with music, as so many people do. That's why I love music. Everyone can emotionally connect to it. But of course, she's not answering. They take this axe. Heather takes an axe and's like, I live in a murder house. You don't think I have one of these? So they're about to ask open the door, and Rebecca comes out and goes, "Oh my God, what the hell have you been doing?" So they try to explain the situation to Rebecca, and then Valencia finally breaks down and shares the fact that she's only been on social media to help her cope with the fact that Rebecca tried to kill herself because she's never been in a situation where one of her best friends has committed suicide, and she tells Rebecca, I need you to promise me that you won't do it again, which is a very soul-crushing line, but Rebecca's response to me was even more soul-crushing. Like Rebecca says, and I quote, I wish I could tell you, yes, I wish I could promise that I'll be okay and I won't do it again, but because of what I know about my disorder, I know that I can't promise you this. My disease is it's a possibility that I will try to do this again. So for right now, I can't make a promise, even to myself, because it wouldn't be fair. I don't know what's gonna happen in the future. I just need to focus on trying to get better now. And God, was that such a speech? Because it had me bawling like a baby. Because I've had that speech too. Like in my anxiety disorder, it's not a very easy disorder to have. Like, I promise people I'm okay, but at the same time, I can't promise every day that I'm gonna be okay, because I do have these moods where everything is just so heavy. So I totally get the whole I can't make you any promises thing that Rebecca is trying to do. Doing this episode is just so emotional and so impactful that I just absolutely love it. So next, Daryl busts in. He's all like, "Oh my God, I came as soon as I heard. I'm gonna kill Josh for what he's done." And then of course Josh is coming over with a puppy because apparently he can't deal with the fact that Rebecca's not thinking about him every single second. And I get that he wants to talk to her. I get that he wants to apologize. But where was this behavior before Rebecca tried to commit suicide? Where was this? I have to talk to her when she actually wanted to talk to you, because up until this point, Josh has not wanted to talk to Rebecca. He has not wanted to discuss what happened to her, and a lot of that part is it's a lot easier to face denial of things when they're not up in your face, because regret is so much deeper, so much of a deeper emotion, and he does regret what he's done to her now that she's trying to commit suicide, but at the same time, it's not the right time to be discussing these things for her. She has to get emotionally better before you even think about fixing things. Which is why I'm glad Nathaniel's not pushing their relationship on her. He just wants her to get better, and I just love that aspect of Nathaniel and Rebecca's relationship. Like, he wants to be there for her and make her feel better, but at the same time, he knows that's not exactly what she needs at the moment. Which, we'll get to the scene in a minute. But this scene, I felt bad for Josh for like a millisecond until I thought processed in my mind all what Josh has been doing to Rebecca for the past season. How he's never really cared up until this moment. Because he feels regret, because he feels like it's his fault. His fault. So, of course, when he feels like something is his fault, he'll apologize, but yet he didn't think running out on their own wedding, or spilling her medical information was his fault. He didn't think any of that was his fault. And that's what annoys me. Like, he doesn't acknowledge it's his fault until he wants to, and it's just, it's irritating. But, so, I like what Rebecca said. Like, Daryl is saying how he'll kill Josh, and of course Josh is listening outside because I left the door open. Rebecca, I applaud Rachel Bloom for this performance because it was on point. But it's all like, no, Daryl, it's not Josh's fault. This is about me. Me. This isn't about Josh. About Josh. As a matter of fact, I haven't thought about Josh in days. It's almost like Josh is irrelevant. Which is another medical breakthrough, which I'm glad at that moment Josh didn't, like, bust through the door and say, I am totally irrelevant. I respect Josh for walking away at that moment. Because I think at that moment he really did think, oh shit, I fucked up. Really bad. Like, that was a realization and a slap in the fucking face that Josh needed at that point to realize, oh shit, maybe this isn't all her fault. Maybe this shit is also mine. He had to hear her say it. Like, finally something is getting through Josh's head, and I applaud him for that. Doesn't mean I still don't like him. So after that, Rebecca goes to meet her doctor. She goes to group therapy. And she's very happy. Like, she feels hope to go to group therapy. Like, she's glad that there are people out there that are going through the same thing as she's going. And so, like, well, she even does this joke about, hey, at least they're all crazy like I am. So she goes to group therapy, and I really hope we see group therapy sessions, too. In Rebecca's progress. I really hope. So the final scene I want to talk about, because I can't really remember a lot of the ending, but I do remember this scene. So what happens after Rebecca gets back from her group therapy, where she has this little workbook. She's going to her door, and Nathaniel is delivering the roses to her, and at that moment my heart just fluttered. I was all like, oh my god, yes! We finally get a Nathaniel and Rebecca scene, because we haven't had one in a couple episodes, and I've been craving my Rebecca, or whatever you want to call their ship name. Because I'm totally, or Nathaniel. Comment down below, let me know their ship name. I have no clue what they're called, but I've been craving them so hardcore in these past few episodes because everything's been emotionally heavy. This scene was just perfection. So he goes and hands her the flowers, and says, I'm sorry I didn't see you. I was just going through this thing, or something along that line. And she reads a note, and I wish we would have known what the note says, because she's like, oh, that's so sweet. So, it was, and I love the whole, I'm glad you're okay line, because I'm all like, oh my god, yay. Yeah, and how much he's told her he's Mr. And then he gives her back her alligator that he took, and she's like, I was wondering where he went. When he's like, I'll see you later, and she's like, yeah, got a lot of homework to do, but that's okay, I like homework. So there's the hope of a healthy relationship with Rebecca, which I love so much. And then Rebecca goes in the door, and I totally spaced on what happened after that, because I was on top of the moon for that scene. I was just all like, for that scene. I was just like, yay! Nathaniel and Rebecca are together. And it just made me so emotionally happy. So that was the end of that review. I want to see a lot of things. Like, we still have an episode left of this season until mid-season finale. We got mid-season finale coming up on December 8th because, of course, we can't have an episode after Thanksgiving, which I'm totally cool with. But at the same time, I'm just over here like, why? I need Crazy Ex-Girlfriend in my life, and I have to wait another week for it. So what I want to happen is I want to explore a lot more of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend this season. I want them to address more on the mental health aspect of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I want to see group therapy sessions with Rebecca and her group, and Rebecca getting better, or at least having an outlet for her condition to where she doesn't feel like she's alone, because this is a lifelong process. She's in it for the long haul, but I'm glad she's getting help, and I want more scenes of that, because we get a lot of scenes of diagnosis and after recovery, but we never really get the recovery side of mental health in a lot. So I'm excited to dive into that aspect of recovery after you get a diagnosis. I'm excited to see what Josh's life is about Rebecca, and if he's gonna pull his head out of his ass to where he's a better person, because sometimes that does happen, and sometimes it doesn't. And I'm a little excited to see where that will go. I need them to at least do something with Valencia's storyline. Like, I love Valencia, and I need her to have a better storyline. Like, why does Heather get all the guys? Valencia is just as important in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, I think. I want to dive more into Heather, all the relationships of sides, Rebecca and Nathaniel. I want to see more Greg, that's for sure. Or at least have more mentions of Greg. Like, I want a scene. Like, even if they have to get Santino in for one episode, I really hope they can. Like, kind of like this whole 12 steps of recovery thing. Another step of recovery, from what I know, is to give apologies to the people that you've hurt. So I hope if she's going through that process that she'll involve Greg in that, and I hope we'll have a scene with Greg and Rebecca. Like, they were my original OTP, so I hope I at least have a throwback to that, because they did state in interviews that Greg is going to be an important part of this season. Like, they're not going to forget Greg this season, so we'll see what happens with that aspect. And then with another thing about Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, I think I want them to address this in season 4. Maybe if they get a season 4, I hope they do, because they've been working so hard this season to make this show legit. To make this show an outlet for the mental health community, and even people who don't struggle with it. They've been making this an important part of that, and I love it. But I really hope they do explore the side, like, we've seen unhealthy relationships. We've seen the unhealthy relationship between Josh and Rebecca. We've seen even Greg and Rebecca had their downsides. Like, whenever you're in an unhealthy relationship, you don't you're not aware of what you're doing to another person like Rebecca was doing of Greg. So I hope we address that. But I really hope we do address healthy relationships and what that exactly is while you're struggling with mental health disorder. On top of that, I really hope we do dive in to healthy relationships. If not this season, then season 4. Because I think it's a really good aspect to have while dealing with a show like this. Like how a healthy relationship can develop when you're at your lowest points, and how that does help. Like I know from experience that not all relationships are gonna help, and sometimes you just have to do it alone, but it does help to have someone there in your corner for you. So I hope we explore that, as well as diving in more to the fact that Josh shouldn't have had Rebecca's medical records in the first place. Like, I hope that another thing that I really do want to see, even though I hate Josh, I really do hope that Josh and Rebecca do have a discussion, because it's not really healthy for both of them to keep all their feelings in. So as soon as Rebecca gets through a process of therapy, because this is like I said, it's a lifelong process. It's not gonna go away ever. I hope they do, after Rebecca has had some recovery time, have this conversation, and I hope Josh keeps more of an open mind, because he's really self-centered, and I really hope he has this "oh shit, I'm self-centered" moment like he did in this episode, but we'll see. We'll see about that. So there you guys have it. That was what I want to see from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend in my review of episode 6. And I'll see you guys in 2 weeks for my next Crazy Ex-Girlfriend video. Bye!